The man had not touched another human being in years. Not a hand. Not a shoulder. Not even a finger. Michael Harris stood alone in a concrete box deep inside ADX Florence, the most isolated prison in America. His mouth was open wide. His face was red. His eyes were full of fear. He was screaming, but no sound came out. The walls swallowed it. The air swallowed it. The prison swallowed it. A red light flashed above his head. A calm voice came from the speaker in the wall. Inmate Harris has violated silence protocol. Michael fell to his knees. His hands shook. He tried to beg. He tried to cry. He tried to say sorry. Nothing. The voice continued, cold and slow. Life without human contact is now permanent. The floor beneath him began to vibrate. Michael realized, in that moment, that ADX Florence was not just keeping him alone. It was erasing him. And just as the light went out, leaving him in total darkness, Michael understood something even worse. He was never meant to leave this place. 2 years earlier, Michael Harris had still been a normal man. He had a name people said out loud. He had a job fixing cars in Ohio. He had a sister named Emily who called him every Sunday. Then one bad night changed everything. Michael was in the wrong place. Wrong time. A robbery went wrong. Someone got hurt. Someone died. Michael did not pull the trigger, but the law did not care. The judge looked at him and said words Michael did not understand at first. Transferred to ADX Florence. No one in the courtroom spoke after that. The guards took him away. The ride to Colorado was long and quiet. No one told him where he was going. No one answered his questions. When the transport doors finally opened, Michael saw it. ADX Florence. Gray concrete. Razor wire. Tall towers watching everything. It looked like a place built to scare even the ground it stood on. Inside, they took his clothes. His watch. His wedding ring. Even his shoelaces. Then a guard leaned close and spoke the last human words Michael would hear for a very long time. Don't talk. Don't knock. Don't try. Michael nodded. He thought he understood. He didn't. His cell was small. Concrete walls. A steel bed. A toilet. A tiny window high up that showed only sky. No mirror. No clock. No sound. Days passed. Or maybe weeks. Michael could not tell. Food came through a slot. He never saw a face. When guards moved him, they chained his hands and feet and covered his eyes. No talking. No touching. No contact. At first, Michael tried to stay strong. He counted meals. He did push-ups. He talked to himself in his head. But silence is loud when it lasts too long. Michael started hearing his sister's voice. Then his mother's. Then people he did not know. Sometimes he would wake up and think someone was standing in the cell. No one ever was. One day, while lying on his bed, Michael heard something new. A sound. Soft. Slow. Breathing. Michael sat up fast. The cell was empty. The breathing came again. From the wall. Michael froze. No one was allowed to speak. No one was allowed to make noise. That was the rule. But the sound did not stop. Then a whisper followed. Don't move. Michael's heart beat so hard it hurt. Who's there? He tried to say. No sound came out. The whisper returned. Human contact is forbidden. But listening is not. Michael pressed his back to the wall. His mind raced. Was he losing it? Was this another trick of silence? Follow the routine, the voice said. Act normal. The sound faded. For the first time since arriving at ADX Florence, Michael felt something other than fear. Hope. The next few days were quiet again. Too quiet. Michael waited. He listened. Then, during meal time, something impossible happened. The food slot stayed open. Michael stared at it. Slowly, a piece of paper slid inside. His hands shook as he picked it up. 3 words were written on it. You are not alone. Michael looked at the walls. The ceiling. The camera. No alarm. No punishment. That night, the whisper returned. There are others, it said. People who stayed awake. People who noticed the silence was wrong. Michael pressed his ear to the wall. Where are they? Gone, the voice answered. Or changed. Michael swallowed. What is this place? ADX Florence did not answer questions. But the voice did. This prison removes human contact to control the mind, it said. Some break. Some disappear. A few become something else. Michael felt cold. What about me? There was a pause. Then the whisper said something that made Michael's blood freeze. You're still human. That's the problem. The next morning, guards came early. They moved Michael without warning. New cell. New block. Deeper inside the prison. The silence felt heavier here. The walls were thicker. The air felt dead. As the door closed, Michael noticed something carved into the concrete. A name. And under it, 4 words scratched deep and angry. Life without human contact. Michael backed away. The speaker turned on. Inmate Harris, the calm voice said, adjustment phase complete. The lights went out. And in the darkness, Michael felt the silence moving closer. Waiting. Watching. Ready to take the last piece of him that was still human. Michael felt the silence before he felt the pain. The lights came back on slowly, like the prison was waking up and looking straight at him. His eyes burned. His head hurt. He tried to sit up, but his body felt heavy, like it did not fully belong to him anymore. He was still alone. No guards. No voices. No sounds. Just the low hum of the building, like a giant machine breathing. Michael stood up and walked around the cell. It looked the same as before, but it felt different. Colder. Meaner. Like it knew him now. He touched the wall where the words were carved. Asterisk asterisk life without human contact asterisk asterisk. His fingers traced the letters. Someone else had stood here. Someone else had felt this fear. Who were you? Michael whispered in his head. The speaker crackled. Inmate Harris, the calm voice said. Begin compliance. A slot opened in the door. A food tray slid in. Michael stared at it. This was a low moment. Nothing scary. Nothing loud. Just another meal. Another silent day. He sat on the bed and ate slowly. Time passed. Then something small happened. Something wrong. The tray did not slide back out. Michael stood and pushed it gently. Nothing. He pushed harder. Still nothing. In ADX Florence, mistakes were dangerous. Doing the wrong thing was dangerous. Doing nothing was also dangerous. Michael stepped back. Minutes passed. Maybe hours. Then the speaker came on again. Inmate Harris, the voice said, you have been selected. Michael's chest tightened. Selected for what? The door opened. That never happened. Michael froze. 2 guards stood outside. They did not look at him. They did not speak. They pointed. Michael stepped forward. They chained his hands. His feet. They covered his eyes. No touch longer than needed. No extra movement. They walked him down long halls. The air felt colder with every step. The hum of the prison grew louder. Finally, they stopped. The hood was removed. Michael was in a room he had never seen before. It was wide, white, bright, and there was another person inside. Michael's breath caught. A man stood across the room. No chains, no hood, no guards near him. A real person. Michael stared. The man looked just as shocked. Their eyes met. It had been years since Michael had looked directly at another human being. His hands shook. The speaker spoke. This is controlled contact, the voice said. Do not speak. Do not move. Michael nodded quickly. The other man nodded too. They just stood there, staring at each other. Seconds passed. Then the other man smiled. It was small, weak, but it was real. Michael felt tears fill his eyes. That smile felt louder than any sound. Then the other man opened his mouth. Just a little. A sound came out. Not a word. A breath. The room exploded with alarms. Red lights flashed. Sirens screamed. The guards rushed in. Michael was thrown to the floor. He heard the other man scream. This time, there was sound. Real sound. Painful sound. The screaming cut off suddenly. Everything went quiet again. Michael was dragged away. As they pulled him down the hallway, he turned his head and saw the room one last time. The other man was gone. On the white wall, written in fresh red letters, were 3 words. Asterisk asterisk contact is a crime asterisk asterisk. The door slammed shut behind Michael, and the silence rushed back in, stronger than ever. Michael did not sleep. He lay on the concrete bed with his eyes open, staring at the ceiling, replaying the scream again and again in his head. It was the first real sound he had heard in years, and it had ended too fast. That scream proved something. There were still humans inside ADX Florence, and the prison hated that. The next day was quiet. Too quiet. No speaker. No instructions. No food slot opening. This was a low moment. Slow. Empty. Heavy. Michael sat on the floor with his back against the wall. He tried to remember the man's face. The smile. The breath that caused everything to break. How long before they do the same to me, he wondered. Then the whisper returned. Now you understand. Michael's body froze. The voice was clearer this time. Stronger. Closer. You saw what happens when contact exists, it said. Michael pressed his hands to his ears. Was that real? He thought. Yes, the whisper answered. And it was a mistake. Michael's heart pounded. Who are you? A pause. Someone who stayed human too long, the voice replied. The cell felt smaller. What do you want from me? Michael asked in his head. To help you survive, the whisper said. Or help you disappear. The choice is yours. That night, the wall behind Michael clicked softly. A thin line opened, no wider than a finger. A note slid through. Michael grabbed it fast. It read, Silence is how they win. Michael crushed the paper in his fist. The whisper returned. They are watching you now. As if on cue, the speaker came to life. Inmate Harris, the calm voice said, psychological drift detected. Michael stood up slowly. I didn't do anything, he thought. That's the problem, the whisper said. Doing nothing is still resistance. The floor vibrated. Michael felt the same low hum from before. The walls seemed to breathe. The light above him flickered. This is the test, the whisper said. Life without human contact doesn't mean alone. It means erased. The door opened. Guards rushed in and chained him again. This time, they did not cover his eyes. They wanted him to see. They led him down a hallway lined with glass walls. Inside each glass room sat an inmate. Men and women. All alone. All silent. All staring straight ahead. But something was wrong. Their eyes were empty. Their faces did not move. They looked alive, but they were not present. Michael stopped walking. What did you do to them? He thought. The calm voice answered through the hall. They chose silence, it said. We helped. Michael felt sick. One of the inmates slowly turned his head. He looked straight at Michael and smiled. Not a human smile. A perfect one. Michael screamed. No sound came out. The guards dragged him forward as the smile stayed frozen in his mind. At the end of the hall was a door marked with a single word. Contact. The calm voice spoke again. Inmate Harris, it said, you are approaching final adjustment. The door opened. Inside was darkness. And something inside the darkness was waiting for him. The darkness swallowed Michael. The door closed behind him with a heavy sound that felt final. The air inside the room was cold and still. He could not see his hands. He could not see the walls. It felt like the prison had taken away sight too. Then a light turned on. Michael blinked hard. He was in a small room, smaller than his cell. The walls were smooth and white. There was no bed, no toilet, no window, just a single chair in the center of the room. And a table. On the table was a mirror. Michael's heart beat faster. He stepped closer and looked into it. At first, he only saw himself. Thin face. Dark circles under his eyes. Prison clothes hanging loose on his body. He looked scared. Then the reflection moved. Michael did not. The reflection smiled. Michael stepped back so fast he almost fell. That's not possible, he thought. The speaker on the wall came to life. Inmate Harris, the calm voice said, this is a contact session. Michael shook his head. There is no other person here, the voice continued. Only you. The reflection spoke. Hello, Michael. Michael covered his ears and squeezed his eyes shut. When he opened them again, the reflection was still smiling. You miss people, the reflection said. You miss voices. You miss being seen. Michael's chest felt tight. You are not real, he thought. I am what's left of you, the reflection answered. Michael backed into the wall. The reflection's smile faded. You think human contact means touch, it said. But it starts with recognition, with being known. Michael slid down the wall and sat on the floor. This was a low moment. Quiet. Still. The reflection leaned closer to the glass. ADX Florence removes contact slowly, it said. First voices. Then faces. Then thoughts. Michael felt tears roll down his face. I don't want this, he thought. The calm voice returned. Resistance noted. The lights grew brighter. Painfully bright. Michael screamed. No sound. The mirror cracked. A thin line spread across the glass like lightning. The reflection screamed too. But its mouth opened wider than possible. The room began to shake. Human contact failure detected, the calm voice said. The floor dropped. Michael fell. As he fell into darkness again, he realized the truth. The prison was not trying to punish him. It was trying to replace him. Michael hit the floor hard. The air rushed out of his chest. Pain shot through his arms and legs. For a moment, He could not move. He could not breathe. Then he coughed. Air came back. Light slowly filled the room. Michael pushed himself up and looked around. He was not in the white room anymore. He was in a long hallway. Concrete walls. Low ceiling. Bright lights that never blinked. The hallway went on, farther than he could see. Doors lined both sides. Each door had a small window. Michael stood up slowly. This was a low moment. Nothing loud. Nothing fast. Just fear sitting in his stomach. He walked to the first door and looked inside. A man sat on the bed. He looked normal. Alive. But he did not move. Michael waved his hand in front of the glass. Nothing. The man did not blink. Michael moved to the next door. Another inmate. Same posture. Same stillness. He looked closer. The face was familiar. Too familiar. Michael's heart began to race. He moved to the third door. The man inside turned his head and looked straight at Michael. It was him. Same eyes. Same face. Same prison clothes. Michael stumbled backward. No, he thought. No, no, no. The speaker turned on. Inmate Harris, the calm voice said, "Welcome to the integration wing." Michael shook his head. "These are versions of you," the voice continued. "Each one created to remove a need. One for fear. One for memory. One for hope." Michael felt sick. "What happens to me?" he thought. "You are the last piece," the voice replied. "The one that still wants contact." Michael backed away from the doors. This was an extreme moment. Every inmate in the hallway turned their head at the same time. Every version of Michael stood up. They walked toward the glass. Slow. Silent. Perfect. Michael ran. His footsteps echoed loudly. Too loudly. The hallway lights turned red. Alarms began to flash. "Final phase initiated," the calm voice said. The floor shook. Doors opened. The versions of Michael stepped out into the hallway. They surrounded him. One of them reached out and touched his arm. It was the first human contact Michael had felt in years. And the moment skin touched skin, the lights went out. When the lights came back on, Michael was alone. The hallway was gone. The copies were gone. The touch was gone. He lay on his back on the cold floor of his cell, staring up at the ceiling. His arm still burned where the hand had touched him. It felt real. Too real. He sat up fast and looked at his arm. No mark. No bruise. Nothing. But he knew it had happened. This was a low moment. Quiet. Still. Empty. The food slot opened. A tray slid in. Michael stared at it for a long time before moving. This was the routine. Eat. Sit. Wait. Don't think. Don't feel. But something had changed. For the first time, Michael missed pain. Pain meant something was real. He picked up the tray. As he lifted it, he saw something underneath. A small folded note. His hands shook as he opened it. Contact was a test. You failed. Michael's heart dropped. The speaker turned on. Inmate Harris, the calm voice said, "Human dependency detected." Michael backed away from the door. "You reached for connection," the voice continued. "That impulse must be removed." The walls began to hum. The sound was low and deep, like a giant engine starting far underground. Michael pressed his hands to his ears, but the sound felt like it was coming from inside his head. Images filled his mind. His sister Emily smiling. A handshake. A hug. A hand on his shoulder. Each image flickered, then broke apart. Michael fell to his knees. "No," he thought. "This is corrective isolation," the calm voice said. "Life without human contact must be complete." The hum stopped. Silence returned. Michael looked up. He felt empty. Not sad. Not scared. Just blank. That scared him more than anything else. Days passed. Or maybe only minutes. Michael no longer knew. He stopped pacing. Stopped counting. Stopped hoping. The silence felt normal now. Comfortable. Then something impossible happened. Michael smiled. He did not know why. The speaker spoke again. Adjustment nearing completion. The door opened. Michael stood without fear. Without thought. Guards waited outside. He walked forward calmly. As they led him down the hall, Michael passed a glass wall. Inside sat an inmate. Still. Silent. Perfect. The inmate looked up. It was Michael. The version inside the glass smiled back. Michael smiled too. For the first time since arriving at ADX Florence, Michael did not want to speak. He did not want to touch. He did not want to escape. Because life without human contact was finally working. And somewhere deep inside what was left of him a small voice screamed. But no one was listening. Michael walked without chains. That was wrong. Guards always chained inmates. Hands, feet, eyes covered. But now, his hands were free. His steps were steady. His mind felt quiet. Too quiet. The guards did not touch him. They did not look at him. They walked beside him like he was part of the building. This was a low moment. Calm. Empty. They stopped in front of a door Michael had never seen before. There was no label. No number. Just smooth steel. The door opened by itself. Inside was a room full of screens. Hundreds of screens. Each one showed a cell. Each cell had a person sitting inside. Silent. Still. Michael leaned closer to one screen. His heart skipped. The inmate on the screen was him. Sitting on his bed. Hands folded. Eyes blank. Michael stepped back. The speaker turned on. "Inmate Harris," the calm voice said. "Integration is almost complete." Michael felt something small move inside his chest. A memory. A name. Emily, he thought. The room flickered. For a moment, the hum returned. The voice paused. Emotional residue detected. Michael grabbed the edge of a table. Images rushed back into his mind. A phone ringing. A laugh. Someone calling his name. His knees buckled. "No," the calm voice said. "That is unnecessary." The screens began to change. Michael watched as the versions of himself on the screens slowly turned their heads. They all looked at him. At the same time. This was an extreme moment. The screens filled with one message, flashing again and again. "Contact creates pain." Michael covered his ears. The hum grew louder. The room shook. Then, a new sound. A voice. Not calm. Not controlled. Human. "Michael." He froze. The voice came again. "Michael, listen to me." It was faint. Weak. But real. It came from one screen in the corner. Michael ran to it. The image showed an older man sitting on the floor of a cell. His hair was gray. His face was tired. His eyes were alive. "Who are you?" Michael whispered in his head. "My name is Daniel," the man said. "And you're about to disappear." Alarms exploded. Red lights flashed. "Unauthorized contact detected," the calm voice said. Guards rushed in, but they stopped at the door like something held them back. Daniel leaned closer to the camera. "You have one chance," he said fast. "You must choose to remember, or you become one of them." Michael's head pounded. How? He thought. Daniel opened his mouth. The screen went black. Silence crashed down hard. The calm voice returned. Final decision required. The floor beneath Michael began to lower. As he sank into darkness, Michael realized something terrifying. The prison was waiting to see if he would choose silence or choose pain. Michael fell slowly. The floor dropped like an elevator with no sound. The walls slid past him, smooth and gray. The hum filled the space again, deep and steady, like a heartbeat that was not his own. He closed his eyes. When the floor stopped, the hum stopped too. The doors opened. Michael stepped out. He was back in a cell. But this one was different. It was bigger, brighter, cleaner. There was a bed, a table, a chair, and a mirror. Michael froze. He walked toward the mirror carefully, like it might hurt him. He looked normal. Calm. Too calm. The speaker turned on. "Inmate Harris," the calm voice said, "this is your final environment." Michael felt that small memory move again. Emily. Her laugh. Her voice saying his name. The mirror shimmered. Another Michael appeared behind the glass. This one looked tired. Broken. His eyes were full of fear. "You have to fight," the reflection said. Michael stepped back. The calm voice cut in. "That voice is pain." The reflection shook his head. "That voice is human." Michael held his head. The hum returned, louder now. Two feelings pulled at him. One side felt warm, quiet, easy. The other side hurt. It burned. It felt alive. The reflection reached out and pressed his hand to the glass. "Life without human contact makes you safe," the calm voice said. "No loss. No fear. No pain." Michael remembered the scream. The smile that was not real. The copies. The empty eyes. He looked at his reflection. "If I choose you," he thought, "what happens?" "You disappear," the reflection said. "But I stay real." The calm voice spoke at the same time. "If you choose silence," it said, "you will never suffer again." The mirror began to crack. The cell shook. Michael screamed inside his head. "I don't want to be erased." The reflection smiled sadly. "That's the cost." Michael closed his eyes. He thought of Emily calling his name. He opened his eyes and slammed his hand against the mirror. The glass shattered. Pain exploded through his arm. Real pain. The hum stopped. Alarm screamed. The calm voice broke for the first time. Error. Error. Human contact reasserted. Guards rushed toward the cell. Michael fell to the floor, bleeding, shaking, alive. As they dragged him away, Michael smiled through the pain. Because he could feel it. And that meant the prison had not won. Not yet. Michael woke up in pain. Real pain. His arm throbbed. His head hurt. His chest felt tight every time he breathed. But he welcomed it. Pain meant he was still human. He was back in his old cell. Concrete walls. Steel bed. Small window. But something was different. The silence felt angry. The speaker did not turn on right away. That scared Michael more than hearing the calm voice. He sat up slowly and looked at his hand. It was wrapped in thick white bandages. Someone had touched him. Treated him. That was not supposed to happen. Minutes passed. Then the speaker clicked. Inmate Harris, the calm voice said, but it was not calm anymore. It sounded tight. Sharp. You caused a system failure. Michael swallowed. You chose pain, the voice continued. You chose contact. Michael leaned back against the wall. Yes, he thought. The lights flickered. 4 decades, the voice said. ADX Florence has removed human contact to maintain order. You disrupted that order. The hum started again, louder than before. Michael felt pressure in his head. Images tried to push in. The mirror. The copies. The empty smiles. He pushed back. He thought of Emily again. Her voice was faint, but it was there. I remember, he thought. The hum grew angry. Inmate Harris, the voice said, memory is a threat. The door opened. That had never happened after punishment. 2 guards stood there. But they did not move. They did not blink. They looked wrong. Like the inmates behind the glass. Perfect. Empty. Michael stepped back. The guards stepped in at the same time. Their movements were smooth. Too smooth. They reached for him. Michael ran. The hallway lights flashed red. Doors opened and shut by themselves. Alarms screamed without sound. Michael turned a corner and froze. The hallway was full. Inmates stood shoulder to shoulder. All of them silent. All of them staring at him. Some were old. Some were young. Some looked like they had been there forever. And some looked exactly like him. The speaker boomed through the hall. Human contact spreads, it said. It must be contained. The inmates took 1 step forward. Michael's heart slammed in his chest. This was an extreme moment. He realized the truth. The prison was not afraid of violence. It was afraid of connection. Michael lifted his bandaged hand. He did the one thing ADX Florence could not allow. He reached out and touched the hand of the inmate closest to him. The inmate gasped. A real sound. The hallway shook. Lights burst. Doors slammed. The hum screamed. More inmates began to move. To breathe. To blink. The calm voice broke into something else. Stop. 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 Michael stood there, holding another human hand, as the prison around him started to lose control. And deep inside ADX Florence, something that had been silent for a very long time, was waking up. The prison screamed. Not with sound. With movement. Walls shook. Lights flickered wildly. Doors slammed open and shut like the building was breathing too fast. The calm voice was gone. In its place was noise made of broken words and sharp tones. Michael still held the other inmate's hand. The man was shaking. He was real. That touch spread like fire. More inmates gasped. Some fell to their knees. Some covered their faces as memories rushed back into them all at once. A man cried. A woman laughed and then cried harder. Someone said a name out loud. A real name. Michael felt tears burn his eyes. Human contact was coming back. And the prison could not stop it. Guards ran down the hallway, but they moved wrong. Their steps were stiff. Their faces blank. They reached for inmates, trying to pull them apart. The moment a guard touched an inmate, the guard froze. Their eyes blinked. Confusion flashed across their face. One guard dropped to his knees and grabbed his head. "What is this place?" he whispered. Michael understood. The system had used the guards too. The lights went out. Total darkness. For one long moment, everything stopped. Then emergency lights turned on, glowing red. The speaker crackled back to life. But the voice was different. It sounded scared. "Containment failure," it said. "Containment failure." The inmates began to move together. Not running. Walking. Calm. Connected. They moved down the hallway as one, touching hands, shoulders, arms. Each touch made them stronger. More awake. Michael was pushed forward with them. They reached a large steel door at the end of the hall. A door no inmate had ever seen open. On it were 3 words carved deep into the metal. No contact zone. The door began to open. Slowly. Light poured through the crack. Bright, white, blinding light. Michael felt hope rise in his chest. Too fast. The speaker screamed. Emergency override. The floor dropped again. Inmates screamed as the ground split apart beneath them. Michael lost his grip. Hands slipped away. Bodies fell into darkness. Michael grabbed the edge just in time, his fingers burning with pain. He looked down. The inmates were gone, swallowed by the prison. Michael hung there, alone again. The door slammed shut above him. The lights turned white. The calm voice returned. Perfect. Cold. Inmate Harris, it said, human contact experiment terminated. The floor began to rise. Michael was pulled back toward his cell. As the walls closed in, Michael realized something terrifying. The prison had learned. And next time, it would not make the same mistake.